Hey, everybody, I don't know about you, but as you've watched out over the world, the war in Russia and Ukraine is not just isolated to Eastern Europe. It's spread all over the world, and you can see it in market instabilities. You can see it here. People who do not think that that war is affecting you, all you got to do is look at gas prices. You look at your food prices. You see the global change that has happened. But you know something that's also affected investments as well. And I've said all along, legacy precious metals is your navigator. They're the ones that see you through to get to the next level. The good news about this is even with market volatility, market instability, you've got options. And gold prices are rising as investors turn to gold. And gold presents a hedge against this inflation and that protects you against the weakening dollar, which we are seeing. Legacy Precious Metals is the only company I trust to deal with gold and silver and the other precious metals. You need this investment. You need this as part of your portfolio to keep you buffered from what we're seeing in the world, war and volatility in the market. This is where you need to be. Call Legacy Precious Metals today. Be proactive about this. Get on board with it. Call them at 866-528-1903, 866-528-1903, or you can download their free investor's guide at legacypminvestments.com. legacypminvestments.com, your navigator in a volatile world of investments.
Do you want to listen to a podcast?
By who?
Georgia GOP Congressman Doug Collins.
How is it?
The greatest thing I have ever heard in my whole life.
I could not believe my ears.
In this house, wherever the rules are disregarded, chaos and mob rule. It has been said today, where is bravery? I'll tell you where bravery is found and courage is found. It's found in this minority who has lived through the last year of nothing but rules being broken, people being put down, questions not being answered, and this majority say, be damned with anything else. We're going to impeach and do whatever we want to do. Why? Because we won an election. I guarantee you, one day you'll be back in the minority and it ain't gonna be that fun.
All right, hey everybody, it's Doug Collins. Welcome back to the Doug Collins Podcast. Got a great show today for you. Going to have a great conversation with a good friend who we experienced a lot of, as you're all saying, you make good friends in the trenches. Well, we make good friends in the trenches when we're in D.C. together. Got Devin Nunes, former congressman, former head of Intel, former member up in D.C., now head of Truth Social, and still fighting the fight. Devin, glad to have you with me on the podcast.
Doug, it's great to be with you. And aren't you and I both glad that we're not sitting in the swamp anymore and we're out still promoting conservative ideas, conservative values, and free speech and opening the internet and all that great stuff. But boy, it's pretty ugly back there.
Ooh, it is. Somebody asked me that, because there's a possibility. I know you had left in midterm out this last cycle. They said, well, Doug, run for your old seat again. I said, no, thanks for asking, but I'm good right now after my Senate race. You just hit something that I think is important because, what we're seeing right now, Devin, is when we were there, it was, we were in a battle, especially the last 4 years. Well, the Trump administration, impeachment, Russia hoax, everything. But before we get into all that, though, I want to talk about truth and talk about this issue that we both saw with the internet and with social media in general. What was your reaction when Zuckerberg went on Rogan and basically admitted to what we all have been saying for so long, but yet we were called crazy?
Well, the first thing that struck me is Joe Rogan plays Mr. Tough Guy, and, that's fine. He's very popular, a lot more popular than you and I, Doug. But the first thing that struck me is you have Zuckerberg there for, I don't know, an hour or whatever it was, and you don't ask him about the $419 million that he spent to go harvest votes on behalf of the Democrats. Now, I don't know if Zuckerberg slipped up or if he knew what he was talking about, but clearly he's got to answer for that now. And our former colleagues in the Senate and the House are asking him those direct questions. And if the Republicans are rewarded with the majority, this is going to have to be a major investigation. And either he lied or didn't know what was going on, or he told the truth, which if he told the truth, then it's a major additional layer of problems for the disaster that DOJ and FBI are in. I don't know where it falls, Doug. I think it's too early to tell because Rogan didn't really follow up too much on the questioning.
No, and I think that the interesting thing about, and look, I've been entertained by Rogan. I've listened to him for years, but sometimes he'll throw what the old proverbial, grenade in the room and just walk away instead of saying, okay, what's this next? Because there was, we didn't ask about the money. You didn't ask about the other things that we have seen, on these platforms from, shadow banning to, to just intentional removing of conservative thought and everything else. This goes back to something for those who follow this. They know you, they know me, they know Jim, they know several of us from everything that's been going on. How would you describe it? And it's the first time you and I've had a chance to really talk like this on a platform. It is amazing to me that in the year and a half now since I've been out and we've been doing this, and especially 2 or 3 years since Russia and impeachments, does it just strike you that you just sit back every morning and open up the paper, or you hear something on social where what we were saying about DOJ, Intel, all these, it was confirmed. I mean, and it's like we've been saying this forever, and now it's like, oh yeah, well they did that, but that's beginning to bother me. Yeah, they did it, but.
Well, Doug, what I think is actually even more sinister today, looking at what's happening, especially with the raid. I think what you helped the whole team uncover, the Republicans in the House, where we all uncovered the Russia hoax back in
Right.
17 and 18, and you played such a big role in that. What we're seeing today has continued, and I didn't really see it because we thought at the time, okay, the 2 lovebirds are gone, McCabe and Comey are gone, the Obama, a lot of the Obama DOJ people were gone. And so you thought, all right, we've got Horowitz there and you have the Durham investigation. And so, things maybe aren't getting better or great, and because there hasn't been prosecutions. But boy, I sure as hell hope they learned a lesson and they're going to get out of politics. Well, clearly what I see now, and I don't know if you're seeing the same thing, but there are 2 to 3 dozen really bad actors. You can call them rats. You could call it a sleeper cell that's now been activated, that I described a couple days ago on Newsmax as the Get Trump Gestapo within DOJ and FBI. And the head of this snake are the people that were there back during Obama 15, 16, 17, kicked off the Russia hoax investigation in early 16. All those players have now been promoted. They are either in the Biden White House, at the top of DOJ, and clearly with this FBI agent scandal recently, this guy that was involved in the phony Whitmer setup deal where you had the feds involved, looking at January 6th, possibly involved in Mar-a-Lago. Now there's reports that have this guy back with, remember, the famous Bruce and Nellie Orr. Nellie Orr worked for Fusion GPS.
Oh, yes.
Bruce Orr, one of the top guys at DOJ. And this guy hanging out in 2016 in Europe, I'm sure, looking for the infamous P-tapes or whatever it may be. So there's a lot of bad apples in a small cell within the FBI that are working with the top people at DOJ and the Biden White House. And I wouldn't have thought that they would be so unscrupulous to just, and brazen really, to just say, we don't give a damn about Durham. We don't give a damn about any of you guys, even the media, even all the conservatives. Damn the torpedoes, screw you. We're going to raid Mar-a-Lago. We've got it all covered. And they've got that cell and it's activated. And I didn't think we'd be sitting here today like this.
No, I didn't either. And Devin, we dealt with this with, through Comey, as you mentioned, the hall of characters there. We didn't even get into Brennan and Clapper and the rest of them. But one of the things that got me about this is for the longest time, I just felt Ray was just in over his head. I said, okay, but now it's like the old saying goes, in a management position, if you own a company and you have employees who are continually doing bad and it, eventually it's not the employees anymore, it's the head. And so Ray, to me, I think he should have left 2 years ago, but now it's become almost more permissive. It almost seems like he is going after some of the very things that he felt was attacking him. Do you get that sense a little bit?
Well, look, he always, from the very beginning when he came in there, it was constantly the happy talk. Everything was happy talk. Well, look at all these people that paid the price. We're cooperating with Durham. Okay, great. But now, just what I just described, in the last few minutes with you, well, nothing's been done because now it's probably even worse, and they're so much more brazen. And I think you have to, at some point, you have to ask yourself, is this just a guy that's just out there doing happy talk and doesn't know what the hell's going on? Or is he in on it? And I think, the jury's out on that. I mean, I know a lot of the people that watch kind of the Russia hoax stuff closely believe that he's in on it. I don't have an opinion one way or another whether or not he's in on it, but for sure, as you use the term "in over his head," but things are not getting better, and the excuses keep mounting up. And what's happened just in the last year and a half are things that we would never thought, right? Including January 6th. And I don't mean January 6th, meaning that the raid on the riot at the Capitol, which is bad enough, but the idea that there were potential feds involved in that and nothing's been done about that and no questions have been answered, I think is outrageous. I mean, right? We discovered feds involved setting up, Papadopoulos, Carter Page, all these characters. You would have thought the one thing that Ray would have said, okay, hey, no more of this stuff. No, instead, it's like he doubled and tripled down on it, right? I mean, in the other example, that is the Whitmer case.
Do you think lately in the last few days we've seen the whistleblowers, the things that you and I talked, we had issues when we was up here, people would come to us, but it looks like now that they are beginning to be people who just say, look, this has gone way too far. And now you've had Merrick Garland actually say, everything has to go through ledger flares. Nobody can talk to Congress. I mean, it seems like they're holding it together with the old, country term spit and baling wire. I mean, because they went so far that even some who would be sympathetic, quote, company people are saying, wait, there's got to be some balance here.
Yeah, Garland, I think, is just an avatar, old guy, old bitter guy. Luckily, we were able to stop him from ever becoming appointed to the Supreme Court because the Democrats knew exactly what they had on this guy. They knew exactly what he was going to be. He was going to be swayed very, very easily. And that always makes me wonder as to what they have on some of these guys where the Democrats knew exactly what to do. They put up this guy that was kind of a phony Republican and said, get him approved, let's get him approved. And luckily, he was stopped by the Republican Senate at the time. Now he's just a bitter old man who's not in charge. And I say that he's not in charge because it's clear just by this latest raid where you've had stories that say, oh my God, he was in turmoil for 2 months, not knowing what to do. Well, that's weird because we were told it's nuclear secrets, classified information. Like what? Like, this is wild that he toiled over this for months, if whatever part of that is true. But what we do know is true is that the raid occurred. Everybody from at least the right to the center, whatever mainstream media is left that has any sort of moral compass, was saying, what is going on here? We need to hear from the Attorney General. Well, he waited and waited and waited, 4 days, goes out and does a press conference. My guess is that he waited because he was waiting for the corrupt DOJ and FBI people to come with the goods, of which they didn't get any goods. We know that now because we just saw in recent days they sprinkled out some classified looking documents all over and took a picture on the carpet, which is ridiculous. I don't know if you saw that from Mar-a-Lago, which means absolutely nothing. I mean, those are the president's documents. He has the right to declassify everything, so we don't know what the hell they are. But for sure, if they're in his possession, they were declassified, right? And so you wait those 4 days. You come out, you look like a hostage. You look like you just got the crap beat out of you. You read off a teleprompter for 3.5 minutes and you exit stage left taking no questions after your DOJ and FBI just raided the former president of the United States' house that is crap that only occurs in third world countries. So with all that said, the guy, and then he complained about, oh, just don't pick on the DOJ and FBI. It's like, what? Like hell, it's a joke. Like, he's not running the DOJ. It's the number 2 and the number 3 that we worked with, Doug, when they were in the Obama administration in different positions. They all were in on the Russia hoax. They all got a promotion. They're running the day-to-day DOJ in coordination with people at the White House and this Gestapo cell within the FBI that focuses solely on Donald Trump.
Well, exactly. Look, for those of us who look at this and we know what we saw and what we experienced with Russia, whether it was with Russia, the impeachment, Ukraine, Adam Schiff, Eric Swalwell. I mean, the folks who just have trouble with the truth on a daily basis. But take away that for a second, just the audacity of the way it was handled. I mean, we've seen it with Stone. We've seen it with Navarro. We've seen it now with this. It's just this over the top if it has anything to do with the right. But yet on the left is a whole different story. We're going to get to Hunter in just a second. But before we get there, no matter what you feel about Donald Trump, Republicans, conservatives, anything else, it just struck me this way the story changed, the way who knew. But I just do not believe in my heart. I really do not believe that Garland, who first said he didn't know anything about it, then he said he did and approved it. Biden said that he did know about it. Then they got a document saying he did. Then he said he didn't know anything about it. Do you believe with any modicum of thought that the Attorney General and the President of the United States, or at worst, Ron Klain, the Chief of Staff, they knew this was going on?
Yeah. So look, there's Biden. I'm not sure he knows what's going on day to day anyway. He's clearly not, in charge of anything. And this, I'm not even saying anything to be mean, but I think most Americans know that, depending on what day it is, that we have a president of the United States that's not all there. And that's not me as a partisan Republican. I think any rational American, I know that foreign leaders, many of whom that I still speak to today, that I had relationships with, I mean, they are calling me up and saying, is like, you guys know that Biden's not all there, right? I mean, and I'm like, yeah. So if the foreigners know it and are telling me, surely most normal Americans know it. But what it is, Doug, is there are a few folks within the White House that are back channeling with DOJ. They had to have known. There is no question. And look, the giveaway is that hours after that raid, just a few hours after the raid, what's the first thing the White House puts out? The White House knew nothing about this. Oh my gosh, it's a surprise. Well, that's immediately giveaway. Okay, nobody asked you about that, so why'd you come out and say it? It's because you knew the whole time and you screwed up. They knew within hours they didn't have anything. They were going there probably to look for Russia documents. They thought they were going to find them and hopefully get anything they could on anything else, all the other stuff. Because I mean, Doug, you're the lawyer, you know this, but if you were going in to get a few documents that were classified, you should have been able to say, we're here to look for these 5 or these 7 or these 12 or these 15 or these 50. But these classified documents you have to know what they are. If they were classified, there's a number, there's something that goes along with them that should have been identified in the warrant. But no, what was in the warrant? The warrant said you can have anything you want, that as long as it was from when President Trump started in the White House to today. So they had a full go harvest everything you want. So look, it's outrageous. It's a scandal of epic proportions. And look, I know that, I'm running Truth Social. President Trump asked me to come and do it. Trump didn't need a new company. I didn't need a job, but we had to give the American people their voice back. So I know, possibly, people would see this as a little bit biased, but I am sorry. This is unprecedented. This is banana republic type of crap that our old colleagues should be furious about. And I know, just moving around the country like I do, seeing people, the American people, especially people who have followed this stuff on the center right, are furious about this. And what it's done is it's galvanized support for President Trump. I mean, which is kind of funny. It had the opposite effect. And now they've outed themselves as, what we started this out with, Doug, is that things are just way worse than even you and I thought they were. And you and I knew they were really bad.
Yeah, it's interesting. And that brought up another question. And I want to get this question before we have it. And I think this is, when people are looking at this whole idea, do you think, and we're thinking, and I'm just wanting you and I just to sort of let our mind wander for a second, that in 2 years, whenever I think Biden's out of office and he's and the ones around him, the Ron Claims, the Jen Circleback Psaki, all those folks. Do you think at a certain point in time they're going to look back and say, why in God's name did we spend so much time trying to get Donald Trump when we had both House and the Senate and to do more things? Because they step on their own self every time. They do student loan, they do whatever, which is terrible policy. But then the next day they're back talking about Trump.
Yeah, I think it's because Donald Trump has a movement that you've seen like no other in modern political history. And that is that, and I've been around politics a long time, just as you have, Doug. And, no matter how you slice it, I've seen a lot of politicians, been to a lot of rallies. And it's very unusual in human history to have someone who can, no matter where he shows up, can get a crowd into the tens of thousands of people in any place that he goes, possibly higher. And plus, he brought back, he awakened the Republican Party in parts of the Midwest, and he pulled off the scab completely off of the fake news, off the big tech tyrants, and off of the relationship to the Democrats and the media, and how all that incestuous relationship works. And I think President Trump, when he went in, he didn't even know. He didn't even know he was doing that. Like, he had a belief, his general belief was that China was a major problem and that we needed to bring jobs back to this country. That was his big main platform. And he went out all over the Midwest, revitalizing the Republican Party in those areas. But he had no idea how bad the fake news was, because remember, a year before he ran, before he came down those escalators, he was a Hollywood star. They would fawn over him. They'd put him on the covers of magazines. The Trump Tower was infamous. He would be in Hollywood movies. I mean, hell, he was a Hollywood guy for, 10 or 12 years, had one of the number one shows on television. And he was seen as kind of this independent guy who would kind of just say things, and he was loved, and the media loved him. And he instantly went to, like, not only most hated, then they just made fun of him, mocked him. And then when he beat him, the hatred started. And then we unraveled that they had been spying on him and doing all this bad stuff. And he has just ripped the Band-Aid off. So he's a real threat to them because, I mean, look, and it's also the first time we've seen in modern history where you have a president who leaves and then is still the leader of the Republican Party and is essentially saying, look, I'm the leader. I'm going to go out and recruit candidates. I'm going to go help people win elections. And he's been out doing that. And that's not what we saw from, from Ronald Reagan to George Bush to, probably the closest guy that comes to this is both Clinton and Obama. But, Clinton, all he did was run his wife for things. And thank God she didn't win. And Obama, who his people are all the puppet masters of the Biden administration. But you don't see those guys out there, at least in large scale, like Donald Trump, doing fundraising events and that type of thing. And it sure as hell, there's no way they could even get the rallies, right? I mean, the person that even came close to it in modern history would be Obama. And, look, he had a big inauguration. He had a couple big deals. That was it. I mean, Donald Trump puts these things on if he wanted to. Every single week he could do these and have tens of thousands of people show up.
Yeah, it's amazing if you look at. Well, and I think that's the interesting. Let's switch gears because you left Congress to as you said earlier, the president asked you to run Truth Social. You've gotten there. It gives us both what I do now with media and with podcasting with you with Truth Social is trying to get that, shape that conservative message. Tell us how that's going. Tell us about Truth. Tell us, sort of catch us up a little bit on what's been going on. The mainstream media will not give you any break at all. You understand that. So let's talk about this in real terms. How's it going?
Yeah. So look, it's the fastest growing social media company in history. Largely people, if you've been on the platform from the beginning, and if you're on any other social media and if you're a content creator, if you're one of these people that are very talented, for example, on social media, you're just getting a lot more interaction on Truth than you are on the other platforms. And, and that's despite the fact that, we are a startup company. We started first in the Apple App Store, then we switched to, and we built out step by step to make sure we couldn't be canceled by any, because we don't deal with any tech tyrant companies. Then we opened up a web browser, and now we're waiting to get into the Google Play Store. And then we have quite a few features that we're trying to build out by the end of the year. And at that point, Doug, is when we would be what I would say kind of be fully launched. So the fact that, Donald Trump already has 4 million followers, I think is an amazing thing. We're only open in the United States, and we're not even on the Google Play Store yet. And remember, we're a place that is family friendly. We don't allow for illegal content on the platform. We don't have the bots and spam accounts that these other platforms have. And that was one of the things that I said from the very beginning, because I said, look, it's so bad. And Doug, you know this. I mean, one of the problems on these platforms is that you had companies and organizations that made a living off of manipulating social media. So whenever they wanted to attack us during the Russia hoax days, they would activate all these bot and spam accounts, Doug, to attack you, your family, your constituents. And, people would get onto, some story you're in, and they'd say, oh my God, Doug, you're a conspiracy theorist, because look you had 4,700 responses that say Doug Collins is a conspiracy theorist. So you know how that went. And I said, look, Truth Social, we're not going to have that crap. Like, you're going to be a real person. And so we're 99.999%. We have every day bad actors trying to get on. But look, we're anxiously awaiting that. Hopefully we get approved in the Google Play Store. And I think you're going to see us, get up, especially for news and information, which is what we're built for now. But when we come out with direct messaging and groups, things of that nature that get us a little closer to the Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, we'll be able to go out and get kind of that next marketplace. Because if you want to be somewhere where your data is not going to be sold or stolen, you're not going to be booted off for espousing your political beliefs, you don't want to see all the smut and the porn and all the garbage, we're going to be the place to be. And so there's a big market out there for us. And that doesn't even include the international market, which right now we're essentially just testing right now in the United Kingdom. That's the only country that we're in right now outside of the U.S.
And you've just partnered a little bit with Rumble on some of the stuff that is, and people forget. I mean, you're a year, we're not even a year into this thing, and getting started. And so, getting other things, some advertising, some, other aspects of video and other things is just really starting to hit on Truth right now.
Yeah, with Rumble, I mean, they're an important partner for us. So Rumble, we're using the Rumble Cloud and Rumble Video. And Doug, you may remember this, but I'm actually the one that figured out I was getting shadow banned on these other sites. And I had started my own podcast and I was putting it on YouTube. And I quickly noticed that my audio listens were going up while my video views were going down rapidly, almost to zero. And I thought to myself, like, wow, that's interesting. Like, I have more family members than I'm getting views on YouTube. So I found Rumble and I said, look, I just want a place to go to. And I started posting to Rumble. Nobody knew who they were at the time. And, since then, of course, they've taken off. So they're really the home for video for people who don't want to be censored. They now have built the cloud. So we're using them for both cloud and video. Look, they're a true free speech platform. And both the companies, both us and them, are located in Sarasota, Florida. And, why are we there? Because, we feel safest in Florida, quite frankly, that we're going to be protected by a strong state government. Now, there were probably a few others that we could have picked, but look, we're both there. We work closely together. And look, we're the only thing out there. My goal was to get a beachhead against the big tech tyrants, and we've created it, even though we're only a few months old. And we're, as I just explained, I mean, we're not even in the Google Play Store yet, right? So we've got a long way to go, but, it's powerful, right? It's powerful when you can reach millions of people. I mean, I get more engagement now with I have 950,000 followers, Doug. And I think I had over 1 million on Facebook, 1 million on Twitter. I never got the kind of engagement that I get now, never. And it's because we have real people.
Well, and I agree. And that's one of the things we're getting, started out as well. One of the things that shows how Truth is actually moving forward is one of the things that goes back to a topic we hit, and that is the fact that Hunter Biden is absolutely the most protected individual in the world. I mean, you put pictures of yourself with prostitutes, drugs, a gun you should never have, and everything else. And yet, nobody ever says it. We talk about Facebook, but y'all put out Truth put out the trailer for My Son Hunter. It really went off, didn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing. And that there's an example of we first put out John Rich, country music star John Rich, called me up and said, "Hey, I've got this song called Progress, and nobody will run it, and I can't get anybody to carry it. I'm just going to put it out myself. I'd like to put it up on Truth Social and Rumble." And I said, "Oh, it's great, John. No problem. I mean, we're free speech, whatever the hell you want to do, right?" And then I thought, can I hear the song? Like, is there something wrong with it? And he's like, "No, there's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't." I said, "Is it like Joe Biden sucks and Democrats are bad?" And he's like, "No, it doesn't even say that." I said, "Well, can I just hear the song?" So he sends it to me. And Doug, I had to play it like 3 or 4 times. I played it for my daughters. And this was, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks before we put it out on Truth Social and Rumble, before it was released to the public. And I said, "There's nothing wrong with this song." And a matter of fact, unless like Doug, maybe you and I, because we've been in politics for a long time, we'd get the nuances of it. But I think for an average American, they would say, "Wow, this is just like a patriotic song. They don't want the government involved in their life." That's basically what the song's about. So the fact that nobody in country music, none of the big records would even not only put it into a record, but play it. John Rich had to come out with it on his own. And Doug, this is, I don't know if you were aware of this, but it sat at number 1 for nearly 2 weeks. I mean, just amazing.
Yeah,
and now my son Hunter, that Breitbart is releasing, it releases, I think, on September 7th. I think it comes out on September 7th. And now they came to us, we released it and have been pushing it out between Truth Social and Rumble. And I think it has nearly 4 million views of the trailer. And I think it's just amazing. So look, and I've seen the film, and it's going to be, it's really well done. It's a drama. And it's actually quite funny. I mean, it kind of ticks you off, but it's quite funny. And look, this is where we're going to have to go, where we have to get around. We're going to have everything is going to, what is people call it, like a patriot economy, parallel economy. That's where we have to go. And Truth Social and Rumble are essentially the tide that lifts all the boats, right? So if Doug Collins is going to do a lot better trying to get his podcast out than he would be if, imagine if we didn't exist right now, Doug, where would all of these people be without Truth Social and Rumble? It would be a scary sight. I mean, even, some of the busiest time we've ever had has been in the last few weeks since the FBI raid on the president's home. This has been the busiest we've been. And imagine if President Trump didn't have the vehicle to reach out to the American people. And that's why we say President Trump didn't need a business. I didn't need a job. We are here for one purpose, and that is to give the American people their voice back by opening up the internet. And every day that goes by, we're doing it. So it's I'm enjoying the work, and it's fun every day to watch and be part of something like this.
Well, that is cool, folks. I mean, we're going to have Devin back on again because as Truth expands and Rumble expands, they got some of the video portions out that's coming and getting everything. We're going to continue to have this conversation because Devin, you and I saw what can happen when truth is not getting out. We know what it's like to be blocked. We know what it's like to be called liars. We know what it's like to be called when we actually had the truth in front of us and we kept saying it. And Truth Social is getting that out there. So again, folks, I'm listening on the podcast. Devin Nunes with us today, and we'll have Devin back on, especially as things grow and expand, and also just as a commentary. It'll be good as we go through this election cycle to have Devin with us. So Devin, thanks for being a part of the podcast today.
Hey, Doug, it was great to see you again, and it's I think like we started this out with, man. It's good to see you here over the interwebs versus seeing you in the swamp.
I agree with that. All right. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody. MyPillow, I just wanted to let you know, MyPillow is having the biggest sheet sale of the year. You'll have to help. You have all helped build MyPillow into an amazing company that it is today. And now Mike Lindell, the inventor and CEO, wants to give back exclusively to his listeners. The Percale bed sheet set is available in a variety of colors and sizes, and they're all on sale. For example, the queen size is regularly priced at $89.98, but it is now only $39.98 with our listener promo code. Order now because when they're gone, they're gone. You're not going to be able to get it. These Percale sheets are breathable. They have cool, crisp feel. They come with a 10-year warranty, 60-day money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible offer. There's a limited supply, so be sure to order now. Call 1-800-986-3994. Use the promo code Collins, COLLINS, or you can go to mypillow.com, click on the radio listener square, and use the promo code Collins, COLLINS. Lisa and I sleep on these sheets every night. You will want to have them as well. They're a wonderful product. Go right now, either 800-986-3994, code word Collins, or go to mypillow.com. Also use the code word Collins to get this discount. You will not regret it.